A decade goes by, and you wonder, where have you truly been? If you've delved into the world of gaming, you may fondly recall iconic titles like Call of Duty, GTA 5, Elden Ring, and notably, Rust. But what sets Rust apart from these games? Well, the story never really ends. In playing a match of Call of Duty, it's unlikely that you will see the same players ever again. When you play Rust, however, you see the same people week after week, month after month, year after year. In that time, relationships formed, drama transpired, and a deep history began to take its roots. So if you've experienced Rust, you've likely fought shoulder to shoulder with a clan, or perhaps against one. These clans have come a long way from what they once were, honing their skills with countless hours of investment to demonstrate exceptional skill through astonishing PvP and dismantling age-old clans in unbelievable raids, seizing control over some of Rust's most renowned servers against all odds. You might be curious about who stood out as the best and where'd they all go. Well, after 10 years, it's finally time to answer those questions and telling their story, and reviewing thousands of videos, images, and documents, alongside talking to the most well-known clan leaders and players of every generation. I'm excited to present to you the full history of the Rust clan scene. Gather around, kids, and come and join the campfire as we uncover the greatest victors, defeated contenders, the gripping dramas, and the captivating characters who have made Rust what it is today. In 2013, gamers were drawn in by the surge of survival games, propelled by the phenomenal success of titles like Minecraft and DayZ. Seizing the opportunity, the talented development team behind Garry's Mod, known as Facepunch, embarked on a bold venture to create their own survival game, Rust. Making its debut on Steam in December of 2013, Rust was often referred to as a DayZ clone, which brought in a majority of its users from DayZ standalone and more specifically the DayZ Arma 2 mod. The game's popularity would be further fueled by the creator known as Frankie on PC in 1080p, bringing in many new viewers to the survival genre who loved his DayZ content. In the beginning, clans were yet to take shape, so Rust was populated by individual players in small groups. Not much is known about the individuals who participated, as there was no servers based around clans. The most popular servers at the time were vanilla, being run by Facepunch, and the Reddit of r/playrust. Regrettably, as the game progressed, hacking and cheating that had followed Minecraft and DayZ, with organizations such as Team AVO, crept into Rust. The situation worsened over time, and by 2014, every official server was infested with cheaters and hackers. The only confirmed account I could get from the Lost Generation is a player called Hale, formerly known as the owner of Hacker Hotel in Next Valley, where she had found a way to befriend the hackers in order to live in relative peace in running her establishment.
Duke led me over to Next Valley. It became a familiar area, so just kind of stuck with it. And there were so many people, I was like, well, why don't we just make a hotel? Like, this is crazy. People are just kind of like homeless. I remember we had quote unquote good hackers that would kill the bad hackers. They would just walk around doing that and murdering all of us on the server like a ton of times until they got the bad hacker.
Hale had one of the few organized groups who managed to survive on official servers, as any hopes for clans to succeed had been bled dry due to the overwhelming presence of cheaters. As the number of hackers continued to escalate, and with Rust's legacy version facing its own challenges, Rust found itself on the brink of demise. Active player counts plummeting from 20,000 to less than 5,000. It looked to everyone that this could be the end. Recognizing the dire situation, Facepunch took decisive action, pinning their hopes on the experimental branch of Rust to address the apparent issues. Fortunately, with this action, Rust was given a second life, and in the process, one of the most prominent Rust clans emerged, leaving an unforgettable mark on the dawning of a new era. The first major recorded clan to emerge within the Rust community was none other than CML, better known as Clan Magnius Licio. Under the leadership of Mr. Mac and Pothead, they laid the foundation for what Rust clans would become. Expanding from the PlanetSide 2 community, CML brought their serious clan approach to Rust, incorporating the prevalent Xbox clan culture in military sim games like Battlefield 3. This led to the inception of the first ever slave meta. Small, one of CML's first ever slave masters, had this story to tell.
Back in the day, at one point, Small decided to take the role on of being a slave leader, a coordinator of a farm group in the slave team. So I was there full gear with an AK. The slaves aren't listening to us. With the ideology that CML had, you know, we're thinking to ourselves, we came up through the slave program. What would you do? So we said, you know what, fuck this. Let's pull them back, bring them back to the fucking compound. Let's stone them to death. We told them to line up against the wall one by one. And we told them, okay, listen slaves, this is what happens when you disrespect and are disobedient towards your master.
Players had to prove their worth by dedicating themselves to slaving for a clan in a separate base throughout an entire wipe. Their dedication and value was acknowledged through a hierarchical system, eventually granting them clan membership and officer positions. CML forged their path on Rustopia, the very first recognized official clan server. As 2015 progressed, more clans took notice of CML's influence, prompting the formation of their own groups. The most notable at the time being DMG, with the notorious leader known as Dirt McGirt. Dirt McGirt was an older player, however had a knack at commanding respect from new players. And having so much confidence in himself and his team, DMG would begin to disrupt CML's monopoly. As the clan scene expanded, we were fortunate to have YouTube commentators like Fado82, who captured the early clan interactions and raids in videos like World War Rustopia. These videos not only amplified the interest in clans, but also showcased the unique metas, like massive cave bases, and the daring feat of building on monuments like Dome, forcing players to take a leap of faith and jumping from massive twig towers in order to raid these bases. The reach of clans also extended beyond North America, encompassing the Oceania region, with Australia and New Zealand, alongside Europe. And living overseas, these players had significant lag and server issues, which led to the formation of many new clan servers, such as Rustopia EU and Rustralasia, which had the notable YouTube commentator Vertigo recording some of the craziest clan moments of Oceania. The clan scene began to take its form, with DMG standing strong in North America, BNE run by Blueberry and Oceania, and most notably of all, SES.
Indo. Total. En als du, ellers har du.
Nice.
Get f***ing wrecked, man!
With the legendary player Stenwai leading charge, who was an adverse opponent, an ally of H-June and Trowsy, who would later go on to become some of the biggest streamers known in Rust. As the servers began to fill up on clan capacity, server owners expanded their business with different variations of servers, such as a medium for bi-weekly wipes and monthly servers. However, it was the main servers that truly defined the clan scene, earning them the distinguished title of main scene. As the clans established themselves with nearly a year of gameplay, the stakes grew higher and players began to recognize their opponents more keenly. It was during this time that Destiny, a popular political commentator as of today, made his entrance into the main scene as one of the first recognized streamers.
Turn that off.
Initially, Destiny was captivated by Rust, engaging in raids, providing entertaining content to his stream, and it seemed like a game he could play indefinitely.
Go! Get in! No! Get him! Get him! Get him!
However, as the toxic culture that Rust is known for began to take shape, the grueling grind from Thursday to Sunday for 8 to 10 hours a day began to take a toll on its clan players.
Tyler!
Boy, the thing to do is a game, you bitch.
This led to serious dramas and personal attacks on other players within and outside of Rust. Destiny, realizing the turbulent world he was about to immerse himself in, made the decision to leave Rust, but not without expressing his thoughts first.
Because the game has gotten like, these people are crazy. The people that play this game, it's just not fun to play with these kinds of people. Dot is one of the teams that I hate. Like this KiNN guy literally says things like, Destiny, how's your autistic son? And like the craziest shit. It's like, dog, it's a we're running around with bows and arrows and rocks and we're naked and you're taking the game this seriously. And people my favorite line from that KiNN guy was, Destiny, message me on Steam. Why don't you add me on Facebook and we can compare lives, kid? and you talk to these people, I'm pretty sure they would be like knifing each other. Like, these are the kinds of guys where like you show up and like you see him and it's like, oh, you're KiNN from the Rust server, and he would like, oh, Destiny, and this guy would like take out a knife and try to kill you.
In this unfolding narrative, we encounter one of the villains of our story, KiNN, the owner of Clan. As Destiny departed, KiNN stayed behind, further indulging in his toxic behavior and becoming more entrenched in the character he had developed. He reinforced his beliefs by retaliating against clans that attacked him and his family, resorting to exposing personal information, would strike back with those same behaviors to use against everyone else. Little did he know, these habits would catch up with him down the line. Nevertheless, at the time, KiNN believed these tactics were effective.
And how I code rated DMG was through a farmer they had named Max. They treated this Max kid like shit. We ended up convincing him, or I ended up convincing him to code raid DMG. So it's in the middle of the night, they're almost all asleep. We sneak into their base in the middle of the fucking night. We all have suppressors. We had a plan where I was in the lead, I would unlock the door, everyone would come in behind me, and the guy that was in last would fucking change the code and close the door. DMG were building their main base, but they had 2 starter bases connected via a land bridge. We crossed it miraculously because it was made out of twig, and all they had to do was shoot the twig and we wouldn't have made it. We made it into the other base, and we got all of their loot. We got all their rockets, all their AKs. They had already had like a box of AKs, which was a fuck ton back then. Yeah, we ended up getting all their fucking loot on Wipe Night, and we were the only clan ever to code raid DMG. So it was a big thing for my fucking ego.
Amidst the chaos surrounding Dot and KiNN, the main scene was undergoing a transformation. Cracks began to appear in CML's slave meta and infrastructure, and their year-long alliance with Boga came to an end after failing to defend a raid by DMG. This incident served as a wake-up call to the entire main scene, revealing that larger groups no longer held absolute power due to the rising skill gap. CML, once a formidable adversary, began to appear weaker as Dirt McGirt shifted the meta, prioritizing quality over quantity by assembling a highly skilled group of players to rival their opponents. Rust itself underwent changes as well since 2015, with P250s becoming the go-to choice for clans due to their affordability, high damage, and rate of fire. Additionally, the muzzle boost meta for AKs, which had no downsides, became prevalent. The heightened competition gave rise to aim train servers, with the first one being combat tags, making more highly skilled players. Unfortunately, this influx of skilled players brought along another problem, the first occurrence of scripting using AHK, auto hotkey, marking the beginning of the cheating issues that persist today. In other continents, the European scene witnessed the emergence of exceptional PvPers such as Frey, Marty Party, Agzib, Soren, Bogsy, Simple, with SES holding their ground as the best European clan. Meanwhile in Oceania, TGB, the Australian counterpart to CML, led by TGB General, held a strong grip over Australasia, with Fear ranking as a notable second under their leadership of Sidewinder. Finally, DMG, the titan of the scene that had revolutionized main in terms of quality and player skills, could be considered the best 2016 clan for North America. However, Dirt McGirt retired to focus on his family, leaving behind a legacy for the future stars of the main scene. Schizo, who had ties to DMG in the past, had already begun challenging DMG and was pleased to hear of their absence, hoping to carry the torch with his elite team, NW, Night's Watch. Nickley45, one of Rust's more formidable code raiders, formed NK, Nickley Knights, burning bridges and severing many relationships along the way. Notably, Neeko, who had witnessed CML's massive group pickaxe raiding a stone high wall of 40 members on Rustopia in early 2015, had long desired to join the clan scene. He gained recognition as one of DMG's top members, joining through his persistence on initial attacks of DMG, alongside Spencer AL, Calypso, Kimbo, and Orb. Now, Neeko ventured out on his own, joining a specialized team of PvPers run by a player known as Pharaoh. Neeko would later go on to start his first team as a leader, known as Infamy. The stage was set for main scene, where everyone had a chance to achieve greatness, but only a select few would rise to become the best. In 2017, Rustopia, the clan server capital of Rust for the past 2 years, began losing its appeal due to server performance issues and an administration that was seriously upset with the toxicity and poor behavior of many clans. As a result, clans started migrating to Rusty Moose in order to find a new home for the main scene. Initially, NW appeared to be the strongest clan on Rusty Moose, boasting an elite team comprised of some of DMG's finest players. Despite their initial success, internal conflicts within NW arose when Schizo had a disagreement with his co-leader, Heather, known for being a very toxic character who always needed to be right. These internal issues led to the downfall of the team, presenting an opportunity for Neeko to strengthen his own team, Infamy. Neeko absorbed some of NW's top players, along with their co-leader, Ichi. NW, once a mere shell of its former self, saw Schizo bidding farewell to Rust, while Heather joined other skilled PvP teams before fading into the good night. The most recognized group being PP, run by legendary players such as Demonio, Haddock, and Rikolov. Infamy emerged as the leading clan on Rusty Moose, consisting of many original DMG and NW players. Clans adapted to the new metas of the era, utilizing stretched screens for improved accuracy, making effective use of heavy armor to gain an advantage over opponents, and finding ways to navigate Rust's extremely dark nights. Furthermore, they adapted to changes in the AK recoil, which set apart those who mastered it. Some decided to stay at Rustopia. Under the new leadership of Zero, CML began to fade. While CML had played a crucial role in the early stages of main, they struggled to keep up with the increasing skill gap, lowering the clan's success every year after. Oceania and Europe witnessed similar trends, with Sin, led by Durka, focusing on having the most committed and skilled individuals when selecting group members, and SES having its final year as one of Europe's top PvP teams before the best members disappeared into different groups similar to DMG. OT, also known as Oil Team, made its first appearance led by founding members Tanza, Zyle, Donger, and Index, representing the best of the European main scene. They ventured to North American servers in search of greater challenges, already having surpassed many of their adversaries on their home servers. Let's not forget NK, Nickley Knights, with Nickley 45. Originally being a farmer, many assumed he would follow a similar path of Neeko and Schizo with their organized Titan teams. However, Nickley had a different idea in playing the game. Nickley realized that he could have a better wife using other people's resources without raiding them. How does that happen, you might ask? This involves code raiding, as Nickley deciphered common codes used by clans and then manipulated their members for any information. This terrorized the clan scene and caused everyone to strongly dislike Nickley, along with destroying numerous clans in the process, due to their poor logistics. Additionally, Nickley benefited from an exploit during 2017, allowing him to open any door in the game using a specific combination. This caused significant losses for clans, further tarnishing his reputation. By the end of 2017, clans began switching between Rusty Moose and Rustified servers. If a group was having a bad wipe, they were able to re-strategize and practice before returning to a more competitive server. This is where Rustified servers became one of the go-to spots for the main scene. So you may be wondering, how does Jack Shephard know so much about the main scene and the history of Rust? Well, I was there to experience it all. I played in Hale's Hacker Hotel in 2014, joined Bugsville in 2015, a hotel run by the owner of Rustified named Bugs, and in the summer of 2016, I started my own hotel, known as Shephard's Villa. In playing on some of the most competitive servers, even as a role player, I was always exposed to what was going on in the clan scene, and reading thousands of comments in the game chat. Never did I see myself joining it, but an unlikely occurrence happened, which would change the course of main scene forever. Cisco, an experienced main player and well known for being Rust's favorite grub, came to visit the villa one day, and got a room. He enjoyed the experience, and word spread throughout the main scene about the villa, which began to bring in clan members who were having a bad wipe. Many would come and tell their stories and drama of the main scene to the guest and I. TeamSpeak, the platform used to communicate for servers, clans, and gaming communities, had fallen out of favor at the end of 2017, in the light of Discord, where you could host voice and text chats for free. So I created a Discord for any villa guest to join. Cisco, being the character he is, thought it would be a fun idea one day to invite the leaders of all these clans to the Discord to come troll me and the guest. However, when the clans came in, their trolling quickly dispersed, as they were shocked at my knowledge and feedback on how I felt they performed on the server, and listened to my thoughts. Which prompted Avalon, a prominent clan member from DML, to tell me he thought it'd be cool to write some rankings for who I thought was best on the server. Some took it as a joke, but with how vanity-driven many Rust clans were, everyone was secretly craving some sort of ranking structure, and the timing for a system like this couldn't have been any better. As the bells of war were ringing, and one of the biggest dramas to ever unfold in Rust had already set its course. Infamy had been dominating Rustified for quite a few months, successfully raiding both DOT and NK multiple times. and humiliating Dot and NK, who tried to raid Infamy many times as well and failing consecutively. In an unexpected turn of events, Dot and NK decided to set aside their differences to work together to finally take down the titan of the server. The clash of these three mighty clans would not only determine the fate of Rustified, but would redefine the power dynamics of the entire main scene for years to come. But who would win?
Biggest raid I've ever been a part of. The entire server was at this event.
I destroyed those with my 15 FPS.
How all of you died? How?
Dang dang!
Don't open that.
I'm fucking dead! You fucking retard! Ah!